Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. I've just jumped off the train here at Circular Quay. It's 5:35. It's a beautiful day, beautiful morning, gentle breeze. The rain has stopped. It was raining when I was at home, so I'm not sure what's happening today. But I can see a little bit of cloud up there in the sky. The breeze, once again, based on those flags on the harbour bridge, is a gentle easterly breeze. And wonder what sort of day we're going to have. It's Friday, it's the end of the week, and we're into the week where we're counting down to Greek Independence Day, which is the 25th of March. And we can't wait to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Greek independence from Ottoman occupation and oppression. Anyway, the other news that I have is today is the 5th day of Lent, of strict fasting, and I'm on water only today. So I've been having water only since 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, just to put it into perspective. And I went 3 days with water only, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, water only. And at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, I had a small meal of fruit and nuts, just to break the fast, xerophagia, as it's called in Greek, unprocessed food. And tonight at about 7 o'clock, I will also have another meal of nuts and fruit, xerophagia, and then commence my proper Lenten fast of vegan foods of modest quantities. Anyway, let's continue our walk and talk. And what I'm going to do today is talk to you about a book entitled Smart People Should Build Things by Andrew Yong. Smart People Should Build Things by Andrew Yong. And the big question here in this book is all about, why do the smartest people always find their way, or always find a way to mess up their lives? And it's an observation that the author has, and it's an observation I think that we all have over the years, that the smartest people end up going into jobs which don't really add significant value to the economy. So in terms of a statistical perspective, the author here says in America, using America as an example, but America is probably a good example of what happens everywhere in the world, about half of all the elite college graduates end up in finance, law or consulting, but mostly for the wrong reasons. So about 40% of the brightest end up in finance and consulting, and 13% end up in law. The last job that I had was I worked for a top-tier law firm, a very, very prestigious law firm in Sydney called Allens, or named Allens, which had about 1,000 employees, and basically was the ground where most of the best and finest legal minds left university and embarked on their career. And it was an interesting 6 years that I spent there, and I did learn a lot, but I also gained a deep appreciation of the culture of law firms, and how a lot of these people come into these organisations, work very, very hard. A lot of them move on to other jobs, and others stick to their profession. And I guess out of the 100 who join a law firm as a wide-eyed, ambitious graduate, it was interesting to see that of the 100 who joined, only about 1 or 2 ever made it to partner status, which was a real eye-opener, as I said. Let's go on a bit of a walk and talk. I'll head off, but continue along the lines that I've commenced. And the interesting thing that I've learnt over the years is that what draws all of the smartest people into the world of professional services is 2 things. It's money and status, which the author is able to confirm in his book. So it's all about money and status. It's not about personal enjoyment. It's not about self-expression. It's not about doing the right thing and living the best possible life that you can. But it's all about money and status. Let me just put my mask on, because there are people here checking tickets, and I guess they're checking as to whether or not people are wearing masks or not. So money and status, image and being respected seem to be the key drivers that bring these people to these industries, which I guess on the one hand is interesting, but on the other hand is a little bit sad, because if you spend your life doing things just for money and status and for recognition, then you may be missing out on the better things in life, I guess is the lesson. Let me just put my mask in my pocket, otherwise it will go flying. Bear with me. I'm a little less organised today because I've got something here that I'm carrying for my daughter. I've got my umbrella. So let's move off. So the other important thing to understand is that once you go through the game of going to an elite school, going through the application process, and then joining a top-tier law firm or a professional services firm, then you get caught into that vortex of just trying to grow, develop, and maintain your place in the world. And you don't want to lose that status. Once you've had a taste of status, like going to a great school and working for a great organisation, then you're basically hooked for life. And the peer pressure is immense. But there does come a day where each and every person looks back and then wonders whether or not they've been climbing the right ladder, whether or not the ladder that they've been climbing is the ladder that is against the right wall. Because life is more than just money and status. Life is more than your job title. And what a lot of people find is once they join these prestigious professional services organisations, that time is really tough. Work is tough. You work long hours. You travel a lot. You socialise a lot. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of, dare I say, these days there'd be a lot of drug taking as well, just to stay top of your game. And let me just put my things down, so bear with me. So yeah, there's a lot of peer pressure, I guess, is the key message from this book. And the other thing also is that once you join one of these professional services organisations, then all of these firms then go on to tie you down with golden handshakes. So it's a little bit like the mafia. You know, once you're in, you stay there. You've got to stay there, and you get tied down, and it's very, very hard to escape, I guess is the best way of saying it. Because at the end of the day, most of the people who join these professional services organisations are really, really good at getting through the tough application processes because they have been trained from very young. They've been trained from very young to get the high grades, to do what's needed in order to fit in, to get in, to please their parents, and to please everybody, I guess, other than themselves. And once you get in, as we said before, there's hard work, long hours, repetitive tasks, lots of travel, and an environment which is extremely, extremely intolerant of mistakes, and it makes it very, very hard to survive. So it's a funny thing. It's a little bit hard. It's really hard to explain because most of the people there absolutely hate being there, but they want to stay there because it's a tough environment, and by staying there is prestigious. It's counterintuitive, but I guess you've got to have lived it to understand that sometimes people enjoy being in an environment where they're thrashed and they're treated, under, or they express their skills under a lot of pressure. Because in these environments, it's either up or out, and the turnover, as we said before, is very, very high at 30 or 40% per annum, and only 1 or 2 in 100 ever make it to the top. So it's hard to stay and it's hard to go because you're tied down, and you're tied down because of the perks, the social circle, because you are working with the cream of the crop. Like it or not, the longer you stay, the harder it is to go and to get out, and it is indeed a big rat race. But the other thing that the author makes a profound point on, and I'd never thought of this before, but a lot of these big organisations, a lot of these big professional organisations don't really drive the economy forward, because it's the startups where innovation happens and that create jobs and where the economy is pushed forward. But the startups aren't the places where a lot of these best and brightest end up going. They end up going into, as we said before, the stale, the boring, the established, large, slow-moving political organisations in law, finance, and professional services like consulting. Because at the end of the day, when you sit and think about it, what value do law firms, what value do banks, and what value do consulting firms bring to the economy? Because consulting firms, all they do is basically come in and they just look at the way you run your business and then just chop the costs, fire people, and find ways of outsourcing all the tasks to international organisations or to offshore locations or to artificial intelligence, to robots. Banks, at the end of the day, today, all they do is they trade. And what is trading? Trading is a zero-sum game. For every win that one person has, somebody else has to lose. So I guess the bottom line is that the author here is suggesting that if you're a university, if you're at an elite school or finishing a degree or have a trade or have a skill, rather than going to an organisation and staying in that organisation for a lifetime, the best advice that he could give you, or anybody can give you, is to choose yourself. You may want to go into an organisation like that for a year or two just to learn the tricks and the skills and to build the contacts. But where the real opportunity lies for each and every one of us is to run your own business, or to choose yourself, or to choose a startup. Because a startup, your own business, is where the growth is, where the opportunity is to make a difference, and not to be tied down, not to be locked in to a golden handshake, and to be free to express yourself, to grow, develop, and be the best possible version you can of yourself. So You Inc., You Incorporated, is the way to go, according to this wonderful, wonderful author. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on Jim's 5am Club on this edition, on this episode, on this wonderful Friday morning, on the 5th day of my Lenten fast, where I've just been having water for 5 days with only one small modest meal on Wednesday afternoon. And I've got to tell you, I feel great. So it's counterintuitive. You'd think that I'd be weak, you'd think that I'd be tired, you'd think that I'd be lethargic, you'd think that my mind would be clouded and cotton-wooled, but I just feel on fire. I'm feasting on ketones as my body's in ketosis. I've dropped 5 massive kilos, and I'll just see if I can just keep it off, because I do want to be at my best for my 61st birthday, and to be under 80 kilos. I want to have a 7 in front of my weight, because that's where I'm at my fittest, that's where I'm at my best. And the other good news is that my heel, my plantar fasciitis, is getting much better. I went to my podiatrist yesterday and had some shock therapy treatment, and he tells me that I'm on the mend, and hopefully within the next month or 2 I'll be back to normal. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation on this windy morning. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable. And for the smart ones out there, think of yourself, think of you, and think of startup. Think of your own business, and make the most of your skills, make the most of the opportunities you have available to you, and express yourself as best you possibly can. Yassas, Filakia, from Jim's 5am Club. Ketaleme. I look forward to coming to you again a little bit earlier or later on this morning with another book summary that I did on the bus this morning, and we'll chat again shortly. Bye for now. Yassas.